Popular diets. You're on, sir.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Popular Diets. Today we'll be talking about quite a number of diets today, like the Mediterranean diet, DASH diet, flexitarian, Mayo Clinic, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Zone, Keto, Paleo, and others. And we'll be ranking them in order for a while from U.S. News and World Report. And this is just just a general overview about these diets. I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist, but this is just a way to get to know them better and to get into some detail. As we go along, this will increase in detail significantly. So a diet is any kind of food that you eat in a normal way. Dieting is about a way to restrict calories, to lose weight, or for any health or medical reasons. So a balanced diet is a variety of different types of food that provide adequate amounts of nutrients necessary for good health. And today we'll be using terms such as protein, carbs, fats, and sugars. Proteins have great nutritional value and contain 20 amino acids essential for life and help our brain and body grow. Carbohydrates are an important source of energy, and when consumed they turn into glucose to power us up. Now, fats come in two types: saturated, which is solid at room temperature, not the best for us, and unsaturated fats that are better for us, like oils, seeds, and fish. Sugars are naturally occurring in foods, and fructose in fruits, and lactose in dairy products, and in sucrose, which then becomes refined into sugar cane and leads to all these kind of situations with sucrose, not the best. So diets are personal, and talking about them, you become vulnerable to somebody when you're talking about them. And we're ranking them with U.S. News diet ratings right now. The most popular diet and overall diet is the Mediterranean diet, which is a generic term based on the traditional eating habits of the 16 countries that border the Mediterranean Sea. The common factors include plenty of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and for fat, olive oil, and beans and nuts. It uses a food pyramid of being physically active during the day and having a vegetarian type diet. And what that means are more vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and whole wheat for a basis, and at least twice a week have fish and seafood, and at least once a week have poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt. This diet is very attractive to people because the benefits includes lowering high blood pressure, lower stroke factors, heart disease, and obesity, making it attractive. Some recipes include this: peppers stuffed with lentils, for instance, as well as Turkish red lentil soup, seafood stew, Greek lamb, Moroccan chicken, and Caillou baked cod, and Greek salad. Hundreds of millions of people all over the world eat this way and have done so for thousands of years. This diet invokes mental images of fun-loving people eating and socializing outside on a warm day. And it's a diet is sensible, smart, and natural because it satisfies one when one has it. Now, the DASH diet is the best number 2 overall diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. In other words, how to reduce salt in your diet. It's designed to help treat hypertension and to lower high blood pressure. It limits sodium intake. The average person uses 3,400 milligrams of sodium a day in America. That's twice as much as what you need. So, too much salt can raise your blood pressure and can harm your health by causing stroke and heart attacks. The proper amount is about 3/4 of a teaspoonful. Currently, Americans eat about 15 pounds of salt a year, not sprinkling in it as much as it's included in foods. So this leads to a problem. And instead of having a problem, eat foods that lower blood pressure, like these kind of foods or fruits. There's too much salt in fast food, in animal products, in butter, in alcohol, and in junk food. The Big Mac hamburger from McDonald's takes 1,000 milligrams of salt in it and is 2/3 of your daily salt intake. So this leads to problems because having too much salt leads to hypertension. 47% of the population has this. More than 670,000 deaths were related to this silent sodium killer. 1 billion people around the world have this, and what that is, 1 out of 8 people have this kind of a problem, and it's too much salt in our diet. Within 2 weeks of adhering to this kind of diet, blood pressure was reduced by most. This diet lowers bad cholesterol, LDL, and decreases chances of metabolic syndrome like diabetes and cardiovascular disease, and aids in weight loss. So with the DASH diet, you have more fruits and vegetables and higher foods in saturated fat, higher foods, more whole grains, less red meat and sweets, eating foods rich in magnesium, potassium, and calcium like broccoli, and reducing sodium to 2/3 of a teaspoon. If you don't do this and don't take care of your health, you'll be on lisinopril. This is not good. So what to have instead? So grains like corn and oats and whole wheat pasta, with fruits like bananas and pears, dried fruit, and lean meats. What I'm suggesting is that when you get chicken, cut off the white part, which is the fat. And the same thing with pork or with red meat. You don't really need it. As well as vegetables here on the DASH diet, nuts, and dairy. So there's no sense in just having just partial low-fat things. Why not have skim milk with no fat in it? How about yogurt with no fat in it? These are easy to obtain, and no fat cottage cheese. It's a good way to start. You can also have no fat Thousand Island dressing, as well as no fat eggs, just liquid eggs, and even no fat mozzarella cheese. So there's a lot of ways to get around this, and these are the products that if you want to buy, they're available. And with the DASH diet, you want to have 3 meals and a couple snacks. Fill your plate with colorful vegetables, add protein-rich meals, choose non-fat dairy to boost protein, and to quench hunger, and add fruits to satisfy, and put nuts in there. So they want in the DASH diet more servings of grains, of vegetables, of fruits, and of dairy products, of meats, and of nuts and sweets. So with the DASH diet, you could have meals like pork chops and mustard sauce, Mexican bake, lime chicken tacos, roasted chicken veggies, chili chicken, balsamic chicken, spicy wraps, and shepherd's pie. And you can also have scrambled eggs with spinach. The reason why these look so attractive to us is because the colors red, yellow, and green make us hungry. That's why you see them in signs for restaurants. And with the DASH diet, you can have recipes like eggplant parmesan, chicken penne, chicken Caesar salad, and lentils right here. Nationwide, 3 million people follow this diet. You don't have to have a sodium problem to take care of this, or hypertension. It's just common sense to have this kind of a diet. Now the flexitarian diet is rated number 2 overall, and the flexitarian diet is really like the Mediterranean diet. It's a person whose diet is mostly vegetarian, but sometimes includes meat, fish, or poultry, written by a book in 2010 by Dawn Blattner. And it's flexible and vegetarian, means flexitarian. So you can have it as more vegetables, meat, and some fish. And specifically, it becomes a lifestyle more than a diet, as it focuses on eating fruits, vegetables, legumes like beans, whole grains, lentils, tofu, eggs, fruits, nuts, and seeds, and protein, mostly coming from plant-based products, not animals. But it's an omnivore diet while getting plenty of calcium and iron from leafy greens, plus antioxidants found in these natural foods that prevent or delay cell damage. This diet adds in weight loss management and type 2 diabetes, lowers blood pressure, and reduces cardiovascular disease. It reduces the risk of heart disease. It reduces the risk of diabetes, lower blood pressure, and lower gut inflammation. Now, we all need B12 in our system, and I have that here. And at least twice a week. You can take a supplement, but it's best generally to get it in foods. But that's what we need to have for this vegetarian type omnivore diet. And it suggests in this diet that you have 1,500 calories, though the average calorie intake for people is usually around 2,000. But it suggests 300 for breakfast calories, 400 for lunch, and 500 for dinner with 250 calorie snacks. Okay, if you have that, you're going to be very sedentary because you're not going to have enough energy if you want to have an active lifestyle like many of us have here in the villages. I go on with the Sumter Landing Bike Club, and 3 times a week we travel 30 miles for 2.5 hours of cycling, about 15,000 revolutions per ride, and at 300 calories you're going to fall apart at 6 miles. So it's best to have something better than this when you do that, at least more calories. But with this kind of diet, you can have veggie and hummus sandwich, roasted polenta, taco salad, minestrone soup, ganache, and spinach stew. It's going flexitarian. And a vegetarian is someone who abstains from animal products, and a vegan is someone who abstains from dairy and animal processes here. So you can have a vegan diet for athletes, though I've never known anybody that has this, because you don't really get enough calories. But you can have, they suggest these kind of things for pre-workout meals, and these kind of things for a post-workout meal, though yogurt would be best since it's already in liquid form. Most athletes do not have these kind of diets. You're not going to have enough staying power, but you can do this. And either way, no matter how you talk about food, you can never be angry when you're eating, because you just can't swallow the food. So when you're eating with others, it brings upon people being happy, and when you're eating, it also, people get together quite a lot and they eat. There's a reason why it brings people together. Even no matter what, in churches, in politics, in anything, it brings people together. We harnessed fire 200,000 years ago, and when that happened, people sat around a campfire and ate. There wasn't spoken language then, but through gestures, people felt good about it. The stove has now replaced the campfire, but there's still good vibes when you eat together. Now, the Mayo Clinic diet is ranked number 1 to lose weight. It emphasizes weight loss and a healthier lifestyle as it recalibrates one's eating habits, breaking bad ones and replacing them with sensible ones. You don't have to go to the Mayo Clinic to do this, but it has it has a food pyramid of having fruits and vegetables, of physical activity, of carbohydrates, of protein and fats. So it has 2 ways, and it has 2 phases to it. One is phase 1, or lose it. You're in a vegetarian diet for a few weeks, and with minimal meat and dairy, eating that, and for a loss of between 5 and 10 pounds. And then you go into phase 2, which is live it. And phase 2, you emphasize, focuses on servings such as 4 to 5 servings of fruit and veggies per day, 5 servings of carb, 4 servings of protein, and 3 of fat. Like a serving of protein would be a piece of chicken about the size of the palm of your hand, or the size of a deck of cards. This leads to better food choices, meal sizes, proportions, menu planning, and just maintaining healthful eating habits. Along with exercising and using the food pyramid, you can expect to lose 1 or 2 pounds per week. So one's goal can be achieved, and you can get lifelong habits learned by this program to keep the weight off. Because if you keep the weight off, then you won't get sleep apnea, which is too much fat around your vocal cords that restrict your breathing at night when you sleep. It also is helpful with diabetes and heart high blood pressure, and heart disease. Some recipes include chicken salad, lentil soup, turkey meatballs, veggie egg muffins here, and banana nut pancakes. Weight Watchers is definitely tied for number one. It's a point system and weight loss system program that calculates your personal nutrition needs based on your age, sex, height, and physical activity level. One is assigned a personal points budget. So you can use a calculator or an app to do this. You just plug it in. So points are spent daily and weekly on food, with each food given a point value based on calories and protein, sugar and fat. Points go down in value with food that is higher in fiber, protein, and unsaturated fats or good fats, and go up with sugar and bad saturated fats. So you want to have as low as you can when you eat. The average amount is 23. And for instance, a piece of chicken might be 4 points. A piece of chocolate cake would be 12 points, so you want to stay low. And with Weight Watchers, if you're interested in cooking at home, you could have these kind of smart points values for them that you can make, like chicken parm, chicken rice soup, black bean burgers, beta stuffed chicken, slow cooked chili, and this one here. But to do this, you have to go to the store and buy all these products, come home, make it, and you have to be competent in the kitchen, and it has to taste good. A lot of people don't have the time to make this. They're out hustling money. They're out doing sales jobs. They're out, men and women, younger than us, they're out there doing that. Some people are caretakers, some people who have problems at the home, or some people are frazzled parents, or some people just want to live the lifestyle out here. So they don't have time to go to the kitchen and make this. So instead, you can buy these things at the store. This lecture will talk a lot about spending time and money to do this, and there has to be a way to compromise your time and money when it comes to having any kind of diet whatsoever. How much time do you want to spend in the kitchen to make these things? How much time do you just want to go out and play instead? What kind of attributes do you have to make a healthy meal? But either way, with Weight Watchers, you could have meals like this: a omelet, and then egg toast, or a parfait, a yogurt parfait, or lentils. Now I'm emphasizing protein here, and I'm doing that for a reason, because protein lasts much longer, it takes much longer to assimilate in your body than regular carbs do. Protein will take between 3 and 5 hours to assimilate in your body, thus making you less hungry. Whereas carbs, like a sandwich, will take between 2 or 3 hours, so you're hungry within that time period after having them. So Weight Watchers is an excellent plan, and so is Jenny Craig, or Genevieve Craig, an American weight loss guru, and along with her husband created a company in '85 specializing in a structured diet plan and getting prepackaged foods that manage portions, sizes, calorie, and fat content. So they have meals sent to you instead that are frozen. So you can have a diet plan of $14 a day of breakfast and lunch and not getting dinner. An essential meal plan of $22 a day that is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a maxed up one that has all the above, including coaching, special dietary bars, and a hotline number you can call. So it has these three aspects to it, and you can get your foods delivered to you for a price. So yes, it's expensive. It'll be between $500 and $800 a month to get all these foods. You can have them delivered to you, or in larger cities, you can sometimes pick them up as frozen. And there's also charges for membership. So it's expensive, but some people just don't have the time for this. So why not just get meals that are already frozen that you can pop in the microwave and make, and then go about your business. So you could have breakfast, Jenny Craig lunches, dinners, or snacks. And one of the problems with this, with this diet plan, is there's 100 entrees to choose from, and you have a lot of, they have a lot of control over what you eat. However, this diet plan has too much emphasis in sugar and refined foods, like these muffins here. So what's wrong with refined foods and what's wrong with white flour? Well, white flour has all the nutrients taken out of it. It's just pulp, and all the grain and the germ has been taken out. All the nutrients are gone from it. So what you have here is worthless to your body. In addition, white flour was made back a couple hundred years ago for the aristocracy. That means it's very, as you know, it's very, melts in your mouth and very easy to digest. So, and aristocratic people like that idea. And it was considered low class or proletariat or bourgeois to have more grainy, hard to chew products where you gotta chew like a cow. So having it melt in your mouth is upper class, it's aristocracy. But having grains makes you chew and is not very attractive. So that's how this came about. You can get these processed meals, but Jenny Craig did file for bankruptcy this spring and is closing down. But I thought I'd tell you about it. Now the gluten-free diet here, it consists of an abstinence from protein gluten found in breads, pastas, beer, wheat, barley, and rye products, and most processed foods. Wheat is a common staple of most diets around the world and is added generically to most refined foods and is found in flour, breads, pastas, and gravies, salad dressing. It's all over the place. It's ubiquitous. People who have celiac disease, or autoimmune disorders or are sensitive to allergens produced by wheat use this diet. So, what can you have instead of wheat, since it's in everything? Clearly, you can have produce, any of these produces, like lemons, kales, spinach, meat, oils, nuts and seeds, and dairy, and the baking comes to be different then. Then, with baking, then you can use, for instance, cornmeal instead of gluten or wheat. You can use almond flour, as shown here, as a substitute for baking. And you can have flour, which is gluten-free flour, measure for measure flour. You can also have gluten-free
Crackers.
thank you, crackers. And you can have even elbow pasta, gluten-free elbow pasta. So it comes in, it's ubiquitous, you can find it at any store, and get these kind of things served to you at restaurants also. But one of the problems with these kind of other substitutes instead of grain, when you're baking, is that the breads don't really stay together too well, and the crusts don't really stay together too well. Really, white flour and whole wheat flour is best for cooking, but you can at least try it. In other words, the consistency is different to work with, but you can do that. So many gluten-free products are sold in grocery stores and served as options as restaurants. You can make dishes like shown here from scratch with easy to obtain ingredients, including pancakes, pizza, gluten-free pumpkin bread, oatmeal cookies, corn muffins, pasta dishes, shrimp bowls, baked enchiladas, jambalaya. So this diet does improve gastronomical health and better for overall health. Some drawbacks to it include expensive gluten-free ingredients, an overall lack of important B vitamins, iron and calcium, and what replaces the wheat is a reliance on too much fat and sugars. But it is a good option to know. Menus include baked chicken, shrimp, oatmeal with bananas, and broccoli with humus and sesame seeds. And then there's the Village's diet. You can have everything it's shaped like a roundabout. So you can have Cheerios, bagels and donuts, Lifesavers, elbow macaroni, and pretzels. And this, remember that? And then there's the Zone diet, which developed by Barry Spears 30 years ago. It's a reaction to the heart disease his relative died from. He wanted to reduce inflammation he wanted to reduce elevated levels of insulin and suppressed hormones that promote inflammation and combat chronic diseases, not weight loss. One eats 5 times a day, with each meal being no more than 400 calories. So he thinks carbs, and the way he interprets it, are vegetables and fruits. And he's saying the best bet for those are carbs that keep blood sugar and metabolism steady, like legumes, vegetables, oatmeal, spinach and barley, leafy greens, and low glycemic fruits that add fiber, some starches, and natural sugars. So he wants 2/3 of your diet to be these, which he considers carbs, and 1/3 to be protein, like chicken, turkey, egg whites, tofu, and low-fat yogurt. And he has them in blocks. That is, about 11 blocks for the average woman, the average man about 17 blocks. And one block has 7 grams of protein. There are 453 grams in a pound, so you get very low amounts. 1 block of carbs would be 9 grams, and 1 block of fat would be 1.5 grams. So he thinks for a medium female, a breakfast should have 3 blocks. For a lunch for that female, 3. For a snack, 1. For dinner, 3. And for one to get to 11. For a large male, 5 blocks for breakfast, 5 for lunch, snack 2, 5 for dinner, 2. Okay, so what that looks like is this. On a plate, 3 blocks of carbs would be asparagus, or 1 block of carbs would be mushrooms, 4 blocks of fat to make things taste better, and 4 blocks of protein. So there's a reason he has this, and his claim was that inflammation was the reason why people gain weight, become sick, increase their risk of chronic disease, and age faster. So restrict calories without hunger or fatigue using his lifestyle ideas and manage inflammation, plus stabilize sugar levels. And then the use of anti-inflammatory supplements like omega-3 and polyphenol supplements, which are antioxidants that stop or decrease the amount of cell damage. Also keep away from soft drinks, candy, rice, coffee, sugar, and the usual. Keep away from. So when you go to the store, buy, and all these diets, by the way, all emphasize natural things, which is the best way to go. So when you go to the store, get your protein with eggs, chicken, shrimp, turkey, and with the carbs with brown rice, lentils, quinoa, oatmeal, and with apples and pears, and yellow squash, and this. These are shown up here, like this. Obviously, you know what these are, but I just wanted to bring them in because it's best to talk about them, rather, it's best to show them to you than just talk about it, or something like this, or butternut squash. And you can have meals like this. And then specifically, you could have almond chicken and stir fry here. Stir fry is great because the nutrients don't come out. And so they're very crisp when you eat them. If you include this with rice or chicken, you have a complete meal of carbs, protein, and vegetables. Or this beef stew with the zone diet or tilapia. And then there's the keto diet. This is getting a lot of attention. It's a high-fat, moderate protein, and low-carb diet. It's been around 100 years, as this diet was originally used to help ease conditions from epilepsy and diabetes. This diet swaps out the excessive carbs and replaces it with fat. The reduction in carbs leads to a condition called ketosis, where the body breaks down fats instead of carbs to create an alternate fuel choice. So with this diet, it increases fat. You're going to take in fat and burn fat. So it wants 75% from fat, or 165 grams of fat in your diet. And you just go for the fat. And it has 20% protein, mainly from meat, fatty. It has consists of dairy, tuna, eggs, chicken, salmon, and steak for the protein. So this fat will also have like meat, fatty oils, seeds, nuts, and full-fat dairy products to burn energy. So instead of the low-fat or no-fat yogurt, get full fat. The same thing with cottage cheese dip, full fat. So this emphasizes fat quite a bit. And it emphasizes healthy fats, protein, non-starchy vegetables, dairy and nuts. He believes this would help with obesity, high blood sugar, and pre-diabetes. You have meals like this that are high in fat, like a cheeseburger or things like a pizza, stuffed with fat. So fat tastes great, and there's a reason why, which we'll get to. And with these kind of keto diet, you could have things like sausage hash here, white chocolate, breaded shrimp salad, stuffed avocados. Avocados are high in fat. And breakfast with cauliflower flowers. So this diet has risks. With too much consumption of fat can lead to cholesterol, LDL problems, which is bad cholesterol, therefore heart disease, liver problems with too much fat to metabolize, constipation with not enough fibrous foods, and nutrient deficiency with not enough minerals and vitamins from vegetables. So this condition, this diet can also lead to a keto flu, which is, it can add in weight loss, but then there is brain fog to deal with, tiredness, nausea, difficulty sleeping, feeling sick as the brain has to adjust from new body burning ketones and not using glucose for energy. Your body has to take a transition to make from glucose to fat to burn. So that's what you get with this, but it isn't that bad. It's hard to believe that this kind of thing, exercise less, would be on here. But anyways, with these kind of things, you'd have high-fat meals like muffins, smoothies, sausage balls, cabbage casserole, chicken sandwich. And to contrast this with the Atkins diet. The Atkins diet is a dietary plan developed by heart specialist Dr. Robert Atkins, who wrote a best-selling book in '72. It restricts carbs while focusing on protein and fats, which he concludes are necessary for weight loss. So this will be a restriction of carbs for this one, which is almost the opposite of the keto diet. What is allowed in this diet consists of non-starchy fruits, legumes, vegetables, lean meat, and poultry. So it has a lot of protein, vegetables, and fruit, but almost the elimination of carbs. So how do you do this? He believes that the low-calorie, high-carb diet will go up and down in sugar levels, increase fat storage and hunger cravings, you burn sugar and store fat, which is what most diets do. But with Atkins' diet, he believes you could have steady sugar levels, less fat storage, and less hunger cravings, and you burn fat and lose weight. So with the Atkins diet, you want to have high protein, high fat, and extremely low carb. So you can eat more of these things with a little more protein and a little bit more fats, and the foods to avoid are things that he believes have too much carbs in them, like vegetables, legumes, sugars, and sugary foods. So this will come, the Atkins diet, in 4 phases. And in the first phase, you'll be in a keto diet with under 20 grams of carbs per day. Now a banana will have 24 grams of carbs in it. So he says that limit this, when you first start this, to about 20 grams per day. And your foundation includes vegetables, protein, healthy fats, and most cheeses, which means you'll be in a keto situation for the first part of this diet. It lasts a couple weeks, plus nuts and seeds. In phase 2, you slowly add in more carbs to go from maybe 20 to maybe 30 or 40 carbs. And you have berries, whole milk, legumes, and juice. And you have to have a carb counter to do this, which is available on an app, or you can list on your refrigerator. So in other words, you add carbs in at about 5 per every other day or every other 3 days. And then you slowly increase your carb intake over the weeks. And in phase 3, you're going to get between 50 and 80 carbs by having more additional fruits, vegetables, and you start introducing whole grains, so that you can get up to phase 4, which is maintenance. So again, phase 1, a keto phase. Phase 2, you start slowly adding in carbs. Phase 3, it becomes what you can take to be able to sustain weight loss, the minimal amount of carbs, and you need to constantly count carbs. So again, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and maintenance at phase 4. These 4 phases. So you can have more things higher in fat and protein with this diet, like with scrambled eggs and sausage and bacon, pulled pork, peppers with tuna and cheese, as well as a bunless burger here. So, to sum it up, by limiting refined carbs, this diet can lessen the chance for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and promotes a healthier, wiser lifestyle. So there are similarities between the keto diet and the Atkins diet if you want to choose to go on them. You can also be on the Atkins like 40, I forgot to mention, 40 carbs a day, Atkins 40. For the Atkins 100, be 100 carbs a day. The Venn diagram is that both focus on low carb intake, emphasis on real whole foods, and reduce insulin levels. The Atkins diet, meaning low carb, and you get a moderate hunger, taking care of that, but more fat, more fat, and keto diet is higher in fat, and higher in fiber, and it's good for these kind of individuals. So there's similarities and differences. Now, for the commentary part of this, when I was researching this thing, like I did for sleep, I found a disturbing situation. I wanted to show you pictures, because pictures convey everything. So what I found was pictures of always women that are in their late 20s or early 30s that are always in these diet pictures. They're always white, and there's never any men shown, and there's never any people of color shown. And this to me is just, I don't know anybody like this. And first and second of all, these women don't have problems associated with weight like older people do, and health problems with it, like heart problems, blood glucose problems, sugar problems, things like that. So I find this to be not only sexist, but silly looking. Actually, this is just classic TNA. And it was very upsetting for me to see, because where are the people of color, where are the men, where anything like this? And we see this here in the villages also, with because there's so many middle-aged, frumpy men running departments here, that this is what they want to see. And we usually get stuff like this, like here. And it was really a booty workout. I mean, really, it was really hard finding someone like this, but we certainly don't want this. That is for sure. And whenever you see women eating, they're always eating fruits and vegetables. I've never seen a woman eat red meat in my life. Even my wife only eats red meat twice a year. You never ever see this. I guess this is not cool, but you always see this. And this is food porn when they show stuff like this. This is just simulating oral sex. It really is. It's true. This is the stereotypes behind what you're seeing. Okay, now let's get back to the other stuff. The paleo diet or Stone Age diet has been around for a while. It's really based on foods humans ate during the Paleolithic era, or between 10,000 to 2 million years ago. What happens is 12,000 years ago we started farming. With that, then people started having all these grains in their diet, which is fine. And with that, then small villages then became towns and became cities, because we all stayed in one place and we're not nomadic. We're not nomads anymore. And with that then came the introduction of cattle, sheep, goats, and the products that we use for that. So this is a reaction to those man-made constructs. In the paleo diet, you want to eat things that are more like vegetables, fruits, eggs, and wild meats, what they had prior to man having these constructs, with more fiber, more protein, and good fats, and want to get rid of man-made ideas like, and foods like processed foods, sugars, grains, beans, and dairy. In other words, less carbohydrates, and less trans fats, and less sugars. So, The paleo diet means eating a lot of fish and meat, more vegetables, more fruit, and you want to eat like a caveman or a cavewoman. So you can also have what the Native Americans ate before Europeans came, or the pre-invasion diet of having what just whatever is natural in the environment, having a little bit of introduction to grains, what the Native Americans had 500 or 600 years ago. So what to eat on the paleo diet? Well, meats, eggs, tubers, fish and seafood, nuts and seeds, salts, fruits, vegetables, and healthy oils and snacks. Anything beats the American diet, which is what you get is this. This is processed food. This is just junk. But there's a reason why the American diet is so high in fat, in sugar, and in salt. Americans eat 150 pounds of sugar a year, and about 15 pounds of salt is put in processed food that I mentioned, and tons of fat. They're really, in order to discourage this kind of stuff that you get in any restaurant, there's really a tax could be put on it to discourage this. But there's a reason why we like fat, sugar, and salt so much. Because back in the day, when we were hunter-gatherers, you didn't know where your next meal was coming from. And you had to work real hard to catch that, to be able to shoot that deer, or be able to catch that fowl or turkey, and it was difficult. So you ate everything on the animal, including the fat. We discourage fat and cut it away from things nowadays. It's gauche to eat fat in front of people. So they had to have it back in the day because that would give you the energy to be able to do all the things you want, and it would help you also have the energy to stay warm. Staying warm is a very important thing. Shivering is one of the most terrible conditions that you can have. So this is where this comes from. But the American diet is way too high in processed food, which leads to obesity. 4 in every 10 Americans are overweight. 1 in every 5 kids are. And this is a tragedy. This should be the other way around, where plant foods, and should be replacing this, as well as some animal food, but this is just too much. The American diet, it makes us sick. But it's ubiquitous and easy to serve and easy to have if you don't want to spend much time in the kitchen. And with the paleo diet, you can have you can have these pineapple and ham skewers, mushroom soup, or salmon and tuna, and put that on your salad, or chili pork. So eating brings up good vibes, as mentioned. And this is the diet I'm on. Make it personal here. You know, what does the guy eat who gives a presentation? Well, I eat high protein food, and this gives me all the energy to be able to do the sports and activities I like. For me, it works. In 4 ounces of chicken breast gives you 23 grams of protein. 4 ounces of steak gives you 20 grams of protein. Salmon, same thing. And these give you this amount of protein for what you eat for these dairy products, as well as these kind of things here. This barley, 1/3 cup, has 5 grams of protein in it, and only 1 gram of fat in it. So barley is a good thing to have, for instance. With this, you can rev up your metabolism, which is what I like. And I call it being jumped. So this is what I have. And you can eat foods like this, if you like. And this is another stereotype of a guy looking like this. But the myth is that it will not hurt your kidneys. And to jump, I use vitamin I actually overdose a little bit on vitamins, having a lot of B12. That helps out, as well as B vitamins, which are soluble, as well as multivitamins. Take that. And you want to have an active lifestyle and do all these fun things out here and join all these clubs, if you wish, have more protein, more carbs, with these kind of fats like nuts and these kind of vegetables like broccoli, etc. So with this, you can have a 2,000 amount calorie and have 200 grams of protein. which will give you the breakfast of champions. Now, breakfast is the most important meal of the day because it starts you up with your blood sugar levels. Breakfast was invented by John Kellogg about 200 years ago. He had a sanatorium in Battle Creek, Michigan. And he wanted his followers to have a moral lifestyle because he's a Seventh-day Adventist. In order to have that kind of lifestyle, you need to eat, apparently, a way of eating that is extremely natural and it has somehow moral implications, which is what cornflakes did. So he invented cornflakes, which is just toasted corn. This changed the way Americans eat. And a patient of his was in this place, not a patient, but actually a member, was C.W. Post. He invented grape nuts, and they both changed the way Americans eat. Graham crackers were invented by Sylvester Graham about 150 years ago in 1850s, and there is an absence of certain products in here, especially yeast, which was used to make alcohol. So we went all the way and not put yeast in here, which is why they don't rise. So at the store, how does this relate to us? At the store, there are 120, at Winn-Dixie, 120 cereals to choose from. I went through them and counted, and you can have stuff like this, and yes, as a kid, I had Fruit Loops. Most of these should be eliminated. They are just literally tons of sugar in them, and there's just not only way too much choice, but way too much processed food and sugars. It's just gets you way high up, and then it takes you down after you not have them for a while. Also, there's at least 200 products of candy. If you go to Walmart, there's too much candy, and there's too much soda pop. They say not shop in the middle aisles. Well, to get rid of these aisles would be wonderful, but you need to go down the middle aisles to be able to get all the products you need to support what you're going to do. In other words, they're essential products. But these certainly could be eliminated. This is not good. This is what makes kids fat and early. But food is related to diets and to religions. Dietary restrictions are used to purify the person and respect traditional customs, like Lent for Roman Catholics, not eating meat during Lent, on Fridays before Easter, Muslims not eating pork, kosher foods for Orthodox Jews, Buddhists will not eat animal products, Mormons will not drink tea, coffee, or alcohol, same with Baptists, Hindus will not eat meat, or Islamic followers will not use alcohol. So it's tied into religion and tied into what you do. And exercise is important. In any kind of lifestyle you have, it's about 75% food for diet that you have, and about 25% exercise. And clearly exercise does help. It helps sleep quality, it helps heart rate, it helps oxygen uptake, your calorie needs, and life expectancy. And clearly exercise controls weight, it promotes better sleep, it combats conditions, diseases like heart conditions, it boosts HDL, or good cholesterol, and it decreases unhealthy triglycerides. It improves your mood because when you're depressed, the best thing to do about it would be to exercise. And it's very social and fun to do. But out here in the villages, we have really a lot of lame things to do out here for exercises based on ideas back from the 1970s. So we have 120 places to play horseshoes. Been out here 8 years, never seen anybody play it. Corn toss, same thing. 120 places to play, never seen anybody play it. And the same thing with bocce ball, 260 places to play it, and these are really old ideas. And e-bikes are fine for people who don't have problems with physical problems, but they use 1/3 less pedaling when you do that. So we have a lot of stereotypes up here. What we need more is more track to measure distances if you want to do that, or indoor places to play sports instead of going to churches to play them. Now this woman here is doing water aerobics the right way. by having her body totally almost immersed in water. How many times have you gone to pools where you see people walking back and forth and back and forth, and the water's only up to their waist? Well, what about the other part? And when you're walking, and if you're able to talk, which a lot of people do when they're walking, you're not getting really enough exercise. It's the illusion of exercise is what you have. So her doing it right this way is best. Now my wife goes to a water aerobics class, and they use these buoys. But if you do them underwater, they're good because they add resistance. Everybody knows that they add resistance. But if you use the buoys and they're above your head and go like this, well, there's nothing to that because there's no weight to the buoys. So always try to know what you're doing with these kind of things. Instead of the illusion of walking back and forth in a pool with just your legs getting a workout and talking, then go out and instead try something unique by walking or starting an exercise program like this. We want to see more of this. That's going to be really nice. Just a few more general things. Nutrisystem was established 45 years ago. It's a weight loss program where you buy pre-packaged foods that come to you, and you pay for that. And there's an app to track calories and instructions. They usually have small portions, and you can supplement your foods with meals with fruits and vegetables. It's costly by Jenny Craig, but a lot of people like it. Another option is the South Beach diet, developed by Dr. Agneson, a cardiologist, wrote a best-selling book in '03. It's a modified low-carb diet, higher in protein and fats. It's meant for overweight and diabetic people, and it focuses a healthy lifestyle, producing weight loss without hunger. And you can have that. TOPS is a support group to take off pounds sensibly. And you can have the Noom diet, which is a psychologically based diet of eating more and counting calories. There's an app that you can use, and it gets to the root of weight loss struggles by listening to 10 mini lessons in psychology. And you can have it in the green, which is mainly vegetarian diet, yellow in between, and red, which is useless. My niece took this new diet and didn't like it because it was too much calorie counting and it bothered her that way. But you can try that. And Slim Fast, which is a dietary drink that you can get powders and make your own liquid or buy a pre-made like at Walgreens. So why have lunch when you can just drink it down for people on the go? And it comes in low sugar, high protein drinks. Lunch usually takes about an hour to make and clean up and to eat. So why not try that? I think it's a good plan. And there's the diabetic diet. This relies on a diabetic person eating the healthiest foods in the right amounts and adhering to regular meal times. A low-fat, low-sugar, low-caloric food plan helps control blood glucose or sugar in a safe range and manage weight and control heart disease. So the problem sometimes with diabetics is they eat often at irregular times. So to control that would be better. People who are more diabetic, there's a tendency to eat, 60% people who have diabetes have later breakfasts and later dinners, which I think might contribute to that. But it's to avoid the processed foods. And there's a problem in America with type 2 diabetes. Is 1 in 10 U.S. adults are diabetic. 73,000 deaths occur in the U.S. for it. There are 500 million deaths worldwide and will increase significantly over the years. There is Ozempic, which is planned to reduce this now as a weight loss program for celebrities. And this one does work, and this is the one that gets results because you don't eat. Why deal with carbs, calories, and counting all this stuff? Just give up breakfast and fast. A 16-hour fast, or give up breakfast and half a lunch, and it'll work for you. There's also other types, like an OMAD, or 1 meal a day, where a person eats 1 meal per day without snacks. There's the alternate day fasting, where one has regular 3 meals and then nothing the next day, and then the 5-2 plan where one eats normally for 5 days and just 500 calories on the other days. But with this meal, these kind of fasting, you need to be careful because we get a lot of our hydration from foods we eat. So you need to have more than a gallon of water to do this during the day that you're fasting. And I would not do anything strenuous, like drive long distances in your car, or do heavy lifting, or use heavy machinery with this. But it works. And there's the blood type diet where you have bloods A, B, and O. And it was created by a guy named Peter Adamo that claims foods we eat react chemically with one's blood. So type O requires high protein diet for stomach problems. Type A would be vegetarian because they would have a sensitive immune system. And type B is vegetarian, avoiding corn, wheat, and certain meats. And AB has low stomach acid, so avoid acidic foods, the sensitive things. So you can have a diet with this. There's 100 different plans you can try, at least. There's also the Pritikin diet, which is 70% carbs and 15% fat, and 15% protein. And there was the grapefruit diet that was invented in the 1930s. They thought this would be a great way to lose weight, but now it interferes with a lot of medications. And there's things like superfoods, which we've been seeing, which are really colorful fruits and vegetables that you can have. Things like blueberries. They're high in antioxidants. And one of the things with superfoods is that really a superfood is any food that you can have that's natural that you eat in moderation. There's been a lot of press on it. I think that this kind of sensationalizes it. But just eat natural foods, that's all it means. And processed foods will not give you cancer. They will not give you colon cancer or stomach cancer. They will not take 10,000 neurons out of your brain a day and make you have Alzheimer's. They are not good for you. You can do a lot better than that. They deprive you of nutrients and fiber and have too much of the usual fat sugars routine. But we all know people that have had these processed foods that have lived for decades and decades, like your parents, and you had this when you were young and growing up. So they will not do this. There's a lot of myths in this, but they're just not the best for you. And about GMOs and hormones in cattle. GMOs, there's nothing wrong with them. They will not hurt you. They're just modified. Because we have 8 billion people in the world, we have to feed them. And if we don't take care of, don't have foods that have these in there, then you have corn about the size of your finger and not corn this size. Corn originally was very small, but now we have corn that can feed the world. And cattle, well, it does have hormones in them, but they do not cause all these problems here. There's a paranoia with this. It's not Monsanto, it's Monsanto. They're not, which is what a lot of people in a lot of clubs here have this nutty perception that it's going to kill you and harm you, or Franken foods that are genetically engineered. Well, genetically engineered food makes the world work. And that's why they're done. Just because it has something to do with the lab doesn't mean it's bad. So live happy, be happy, and have fun. In other words, have the diet that makes you happy. Whatever one that works for you, then that's the one to have for yourself. What feels right. So what were the worst moods? Foods for your moods. Highly processed foods, sugar-sweetened beverages that take you up and then drop you down fast. Alcohol, which is a depressant, and we talked about processed foods. There is a link between processed foods and brain health. It's true. There's a link between it, but it's not going to cause you to have Alzheimer's. So just have foods that are natural, things like this that we told you about: blueberries, avocados, nuts, eggs, and yes, chocolate. Have that. And research has shown that with eating a Mediterranean diet, it appears to slow the signs of age-related brain and obesity problems. So having a rich vegetables, seafood, and whole grains does help out and helps out with these things. The evidence is pretty overwhelming about this. There's the Mind Diet, which has the Mediterranean diet, which you can have, which stands for Mediterranean Intervention Diet, delay. I can't read that, sorry. And organic versus natural, and organic versus non-organic foods. You can go to Whole Foods, which I call whole paycheck, and get robbed. So, you can have organic food. Of course, organic food tastes fantastic. It's the best. But how much do you want to pay for an apple? Do you want to pay $1 for this? If you're a subsistence farmer in sub-Saharan Africa, which half the world is in terms of being farmers or people that don't have the internet, that only get $2 or $3 a day, then you're not going to spend your dollar on an apple to feed your family. You're going to get grains, you're going to get rice, and maybe a fish to feed your family. Having something like this that's organic, it costs a lot of money. Well, you can spend your money on organic and feed your family this way for 20 years. You're going to feel great, but then you might not have enough money to come out to the villages and lead the expensive lifestyle that we lead here. Or you might not be able to take fantastic trips that you all read about, that couples do. So it's your choice. How much time do you want to spend in the kitchen? How much money do you want to spend for organic or non-organic? My recommendation is go to Walmart, buy the regular fruits and vegetables, wash them off at home, have a great meal, save money, and have the village's lifestyle. And but the fad diets have all these kind of problems here, especially pseudoscience. So have the one that appeals to you, but at least try it if you're interested. Give it a couple months. So good food, good mood to see things like this. So bon appetit, eat well and live well. Thank you. That is the end of this lecture. Thanks, Matt.